just waiting for people to join. Hi, everyone. Lasirati. I'm very happy to have you all here. I hope you had a good time watching the play entitled Heroes, which was premiering a couple of hours ago in the framework of the 4th Roma Heroes Festival organized by the Independent Theatre. Very big welcome to Simonida Selimovic. I'm so honored to talk to you. Actually, I've been following your career for years. I will never forget. Hi, everyone. I will never forget, when I saw you on stage in Berlin at the Gorky Theater with Roma Army. This was such a memorable night for me. And I think I've seen the play 3 or 4 times. So
really?
Yeah, I'm a huge fan. So welcome. Hi, Simonida.
Thank you.
So how was it? Yeah, we were discussing like how it felt like to watch it now online. So you have been playing this play for quite some time. How was it to, attend your own premiere on your laptop or computer? How did it feel like?
It was very exciting, I have to say. And I was even a bit nervous to see it online with the subtitles and with some comments, or I was chatting also with people on WhatsApp and on Messenger, on Facebook. Yes, nice and excited feeling about it. Yeah.
I was just reaching out to you yesterday, I think, just to arrange the questions, and I was actually quite emotional. I was expecting, I know that you're producing quite heavy plays, featuring stories of Roma people, women in precarious situations. So I was prepared. But, it's the end of the year, and this was, a very, very emotional story to me. So, my impression was, my feeling when I watched it yesterday, that wow, we would have needed it, so much sooner. And I'm really happy that now it's available to quite large audiences in German, in Hungarian, in English. I think it touches upon a lot of issues that we are facing in Europe. But before we go into the play, maybe not everyone is aware of who you are and what your theater company is doing. I'm a big fan, so I know everything about you. But just to those of us in the audience who cannot really place your theater company, your cooperation with independent theater, can you just tell us about a little bit about yourself and the work you're doing? A regular first question. Sorry, I couldn't be more creative.
Not a problem. Okay. I'm Simonida Selimovic. As you maybe not heard, our theater association's name is Romano Svato. This is a theater association that has existed since 2010. And we hardly found any plays or films by Roma. But we just only found about Roma. And so we were constantly being cast also in film and in theater in the manner of cliches, until we took the initiative ourselves and started to write about topics that concerned us. And we ourselves determined, and now we women want to be represented to the outside world like Roma. And I think it's important that Romano Svato cooperates with other theater initiatives, such as an independent theater, because this gives us a greater chance of being taken seriously, artistically and politically. Politically means the Roma can no longer be used to receive funding for projects where the Roma then ultimately have nothing to say. Roma are totally underrepresented in the media landscape, which gives our people the feeling of being invisible and still living in secret. We are actors, artists, and we're not politicians. We know that, but we have been immersed in the film and theater world since we were children, and have seen through many connections to this.
So when you're saying we, you refer to your sister as well, I guess, who I'm also a big fan of, and I know a lot, but others might not know that. So can you tell us a bit about this family connection in your history with Romano Svato?
Sander and me, we started well in very early, very early. We were like, she was 10 and I was 12 years old when we was playing in Austrian series here in Vienna, in a famous one, and we were just like these gypsy children you could see always in the TV, and yes, and we started at this age our career, and after, yes, she did her acting school, and me too. We studied it, and we saw, and we had the feeling that we never could play the big roles like we wish, or to play really deep roles, to be here in the media landscape, really seen. Yeah,
that was the motivation behind establishing your own theater company and artistic collective, which is also a feminist collective. As far as I know, you identify yourself as a feminist production company, right?
Yes.
Very happy to see that. I know that I'm not supposed to be this big of a fan as a neutral moderator, but sorry, I'm jumping out just to be able to talk to you. We'll talk about that experience a little bit more towards the end, like how it is. You're based in Vienna. I think we did not mention that, but so you're based in Vienna, Austria?
Yes, I'm based in Vienna, that's true. Just 1 second, I think I have just to change my place.
Go. Meanwhile, I will lead into the next question. So I don't know if you met me a couple of weeks ago. I was moderating another independent theater produced play, which was entitled European Family. And basically, it was a story of a family with people living in diaspora, so not in the same country, a Romani family. And they were going through a lot in the COVID-19 crisis. And having watched that play, I had the feeling that Roma content creators, theater professionals, actors and actresses are getting closer and closer these days. Maybe it's just my impression. And there is an incredible amount of cooperation between Romani artists on the European level taking place. Due to independent theater as well, I think. So I wanted to ask you about this, like what would be needed? What do you think, what would be needed for Roma creatives to come together on a European level and produce art and to, like infiltrate and invade the European cultural landscape? I think this is something that hasn't been happening as much as it should have. And I know that you're quite engaged on the international level as well. So I'm wondering how you see that. You were already mentioning, that Romani people are always cast for stereotypical cliche roles. So what does it mean to you to produce your own arts with other Romani people across the continent and even beyond?
I mean, I would just go maybe back to the question what I think about working with other creators and theater professionals and actors, and what would be needed to get more in the media landscape. I think that an international or EU theater umbrella organization could perhaps be a solution here, or own TV channels, and etc., etc. And working with other actors means for me to don't explain always myself, who are Roma, why Roma are doing like this, why is this tradition like this, why we don't do things like this, to live in a culture and to don't work with these stereotypical things. And when we are working with maybe these stereotypical things or roles, then because of purpose or just because we want to explain something with this story.
Thank you. Let's move on to the play itself. So I know that it has been running for some time in Vienna. Can you tell us a little bit more about how you came up with the idea of this play, and how was it received in Vienna and Austria so far? And I'm also wondering about the creative process this year. So did you adapt it to the online premiere? How did you work around it during COVID-19? I know that your sister was also the director, right? And you co-wrote it.
Yes. So what the question about the COVID thing, or about the process? About the
process. Yes.
How we started with this story.
Yeah.
When the refugee wave came to Austria, at that time, and people then slept in the What If church in Vienna and occupied the church, and they fought for their rights. We asked ourselves what happened to the few women, which stories drove them to flee. We had many interviews with those affected, as well as with prison directors, prison guards, and therapists. We knew beforehand that there were also Roma refugees on the run, but we didn't realize that there were so many. Through the play, we have sensitized our audience in recent years and made it clear what these people are going through. People have often asked how they can best help. And when we developed the roles, it was clear to us that we wanted to bring strong personalities with empowering characters who had been through a lot on stage. Women you can identify with, people you see on the street with like headscarves. Refugees from whom you don't know anything except from the media that only panic and instrumentalizing policy that acts on the right in the executive and legislative branch. And the interviews made it clear to us which 3 role models we could create. We had received a lot of information from the translators and asylum officers, as well as from the refugees who never knew what to do next. So we created the 3 characters from thousands of stories that we received and that we had a lot of interviews.
And I think it really shows, the amount of research and interviews that went into this work, because the characters are very multidimensional. Their relations, I think, are also very, very deep. So it's rare to see, like this, often, not without conflict relationships between women. So it was really, really good to see that. So in a way, I was also saying this to you, that I think this play showed much more about the status of refugees and, their life stories in their home countries, in their, reception countries, than the media, the mainstream media discourses usually, paint about, especially about women. I think, I don't know how it was for you in Austria. Maybe you can tell a bit about the discourse that was shaping in Austria. In Hungary, where I am based, like the discourse was very much focusing on men, on refugee men, and they were, used to scapegoat a lot, that they are violent, they are criminals, they are rapists. And it was and it is still very rare to hear, about the life stories of women. So was it a conscious choice that you focused on women, or how was that formulating when you came up with the idea?
The media is acting the same like in Hungary. the refugees are the scapegoats, like they're violent, and they don't know how to act with women, they are rapists, and so on and so on. They're stealing all the works and jobs from other people, and they're just living on the costs of Austria, and blah blah blah. And yes, we were like asking, okay, what's about the women, because where are the women in this part of being refugee, and why they are refugees, and what's and I mean, we was discussing a lot, and then we were like searching just women, because this was our question: where are they? Why are they here? How the families are? Did they help them or not? So in this case, it was on first it was hard to find them, but after we was talking with the directors of the prison and with the therapists and with translators, then we got a lot of interviews and a lot of information. And this was, I mean, the most thing was like being homosexual for women, like especially in Iran, or because of economic crisis, like in Macedonia, Serbia, Kosovo, Bosnia. And then we choose just, Kosovo, because the last wave was from Kosovo, and a lot of people, they came to Austria and Vienna. They have been again deported to Kosovo, because they say Kosovo is a safe country, also like in Serbia. And then we choose Kosovo because of that.
Mm. And I think you're also reflecting on this quite much within the play, that there is this very rigid categorization of migrants and refugees, you know, like economic migrants, or, you know, those who have to undergo these testing for, you know, proving whether they are LGBT. I think one of the like most emotional scenes was the questioning of the woman, the lesbian woman from Iran, how you showed that what kind of intrusive questioning someone has to go through just to prove that, you know, they have a legitimate claim for asylum. That was what was very touching in the play. So yeah, let's talk a bit about your perception. You just like say it in the play, you know, it's Fortress Europe. So this that's also very powerful, I think, just to show how Fortress Europe is functioning. And yeah, the characters who are representing Fortress Europe in the play, the immigration detention officer, you know, even the interpreters, they're not very positive. So let's put it mildly. And some of them are played by you, at least in this version of the play. So what was the most striking to you when you listen to people, refugees, you know, how do they perceive this system, this, you know, Western liberal white country like Austria is, you know, they think they're coming here with hopes, and then we see in the play what happens. So what was the stories, you know, like the most striking things in those stories for you?
There was a lot of striking stories for me. I mean, and I mean, maybe also this with the Iranian woman and or Iranian women, that because the questions that are in the play, they're real. These people, they're receiving real these questions, and they have to answer how they have sex, and to go really deep in this, what they're doing. I mean, we did a bit funny scene out of it. But for the people that are sitting there and receiving all these questions, it's really a big shame for them. When we had when we talked to them, when I had an interview with one man and also with one woman, they told me the same, that they're vulnerable. And then some of them, they even never had sex like her in the play. Just she knows that she's attracted to women, and she just knows it. She just knows it, and she couldn't explain it deeper because this is just a feeling. And yes, she find also the answer I found nice. I think women are just beautiful.
Yeah, I remember that.
This is just, how she could explain sex and that she's attracted to them. Because she's still a virgin, so.
Yeah. So you were not the one playing the Kosovar Romani refugee woman in this play, but I wanted to ask you a little bit about that, since you mentioned that, in this wave, there was a lot of people, also Roma, coming from Kosovo. So what stories did you hear from that community? And I also know that there's quite a big Romani community in Vienna and, in Austria. So can you tell a bit, if you know, how the local community, the local Roma community, was it supportive to the newly arriving people? Was there interaction? What was the story there?
They were a bit scared. Because this is a big politician what they're doing in Germany and also in Austria. There are some Roma, they're living on asylum here in Austria or in Germany, and because of the new wave of refugees, they're coming from the war, they have to leave the country. They lost their asylum. And so it was not that good. Yeah, this was, yes, a big topic for a lot of Roma people. And it's still a topic, with deportation from Germany, deportation from Austria, from Switzerland. From the EU countries, the richer EU countries, like French. If you remember what the president did, they gave the money to leave the country, to go back to Romania. Even they were allowed to stay in France. Yeah.
And do you think that Roma organizations in Austria react to these kind of rhetorics that, all the EU migrants or non-EU Roma migrants, they should be deported and given money to go back? They are just economic migrants, there's all this rhetoric. Is there a sense of community? If we talk about, Roma people living in Austria, do they support? Are they in solidarity with refugees from other countries? Or is it a complicated dynamic?
It's a bit complicated, but there are also organizations that are helping. In Germany, they call them Wir alle bleiben oder Bleiberecht für alle. And also Romano Centro in Vienna. And some of them are also in Graz or in Linz. So yes, of course, there are also, it's always, this is polarizing a lot, this topic. People are coming from another country with another culture, from the war, traumatized. A lot of men without women,
Mhm.
and the media, what they're, I mean, yes, they're doing a lot of bad work in this situation for these people.
I was very surprised in a positive way. Let's move on to your role as a writer and actress in this play as well. But I think it was the second scene when you're kind of like directly talking to the audience about your positionality as actors playing these characters. I think this was the first time when I saw in a theater play that there's such a direct reference to your positionality. And you were saying that, we are playing these characters. Maybe we are not even from that same country. We don't speak their mother tongues. We have never visited the place where they come from, but we can relate to each other. So, we are careful in relating, but we can relate to. We look similarly, we look alike, we are women of color. You don't say that, but that was my interpretation. So I was thinking about, all these debates. I don't know if you're having that in Austria or not, tell me about that. But at least in Hungary, there's a lot of debates, following the Black Lives Matter movement, how activists demanded that, like no non-Black person should be playing Black characters. So there was all this fuss, Netflix taking off rightfully, I think, movies. So what do you think about these questions? In Hungary, at least we often hear that, why should, Romani characters be played by Romani actors? And yeah, like when we point out that Romani actors don't really play non-Romani actors, so basically that's the only role that is offered to them, then it's always like an intense debate. So what do you think about this positionality and who should be playing whom, and gender wise, race, ethnicity wise?
It's about the representation. It's not about who is playing whom, because they're two they're not Roma people are really in the media landscape that you could find or meet, or that they are role models for some people here. And in this piece, we wanted to show that Roma can play roles other than themselves. So not just little roles like the third tree from the left, like we say here in Austria. And we definitely didn't want to blackface, so we deliberately wrote this scene because of this. We know, we was thinking about how we could do it, but it was not about blackfacing someone or something. It was just, okay, it's for us, we could also play bigger roles. We could also play roles that are suffering but empowering, and not just these meaningless roles that are given to us, like playing just a beggar or a prostitute. I mean, I would love to play big roles with a big drama, also beggar or prostitute, or, these roles, but with some meanings behind, and the powerful role, not just, or a housewife that is going to be a millionaire, how she's doing a big business, something like this. But don't give me just roles with, playing a cliche or playing nobody.
So that's the case then in Austria as well, that it's really hard to get to, let's call them, for the sake of calling them something, mainstream roles, where not your ethnicity, not the character's ethnicity matters, right?
Yeah.
You think it's a European problem? You're much more connected to actors and actresses, to Romani actors?
It is, yes, it is. It's even in America, the big problem that the most actors are white. and they're just 7% of the media landscape, even in America, taken by black people.
So you're saying that underrepresentation is a huge issue in theater.
Very huge issue, yeah. And we should fight for this. I mean, and how could we fight? We just produce the people. Let's take them, be the boss, give them the chair.
Like you're doing with your theater company, and how independent theater is also doing that. Yeah, let's talk a bit about this year, which is not over yet. I wake up every morning, it's like, oh my God, it's over, but it's not. So 2020, it was quite a hard year, especially, you know, for those people and communities who have never been, you know, too much privileged in the past decades or centuries. So Roma communities have been especially impacted. We have been seeing, you know, how the state was turning to them in this time of crisis. But you know, Roma people have been known for being creative and resilient, I think, over the centuries, not because they have to, but because, you know, of the persecution and having to flee places and escape dangerous situations. And I think this also happened this year. So just what independent theater did, you know, going online, coming up with interactive formats for theater plays, they, you know, kind of like achieved that Roma content creators can still come together and engage in something meaningful and creative. So how did you go around everything? Just that you as a person, as an artist, with your company, with this cooperation with the independent theater, how was 2020 for you?
At the beginning, at first, I was scared, like many others. But after a while, I developed the courage to try new things and to go new ways. So I wrote down many ideas and submitted concepts, some of which were fruitful. For me personally, it is, of course, a challenging time because I was unable to participate or perform at some events. But there were other projects that I worked on. I have made some projects suitable for COVID, how, for example, a personal tour of the Brussels Museum became a video tour that can also be seen on the homepage. And this was like a great solution to find this.
And we have
Sandra is here, my sister.
Sandra is here.
Yes, of course I'm here. I am the director of this play. Of course I'm here.
You wouldn't show up because you're sick. Sorry to hear that, and get better. So I was just asking Simonida about everything. Also your cooperation, how you established the theater company, and about this play in particular. But like, tell us how you feel about Heroes going online, and what are your feelings about it? What are your feelings about 2020 as well, being at home sick?
Well, did my sister tell you that I was tested COVID positive? Yeah, that's the thing. But I feel okay. Thanks God, I have just mild symptoms. I mean, I do have pain in my body and so on, but thanks God, I don't feel like dying like many other people. I feel glad that for me it's not too bad. But who knows? My doctor said instead of their calming people down, my doctor said, yeah, maybe in 5 or 10 days you will have more or worse symptoms, but until now I'm kind of okay. Like, I can talk and I'm here and I want to join.
Good that you're here with us. I was just
Yeah.
about your plans. Like we were talking a bit about how you survived 2020 so far. So how COVID-19 impacted your work. Maybe you can tell us a little. I mean, we see how it is impacting right now, so you don't need to tell much more about that. But
Exactly, because we were supposed to be in Budapest and to have the play Heroes now, but thanks God we had the opportunity to broadcast it online at least. I mean, this is very good, at least that it was not completely cancelled. So I'm really, really grateful that we could show and spread it to people still despite this virus. Yeah.
there is a comment from someone who is watching us. Maybe you know the person, Alex, who is a Roma actor, and just wrote that, you know, like what we talked with Simonida, that the problems for Romani actors are the same in Romania, under huge underrepresentation, even like blackfacing, you know, when they're playing like non-Roma are playing Roma characters. It's a shame. What do you think about that, Sandra? So we touched upon that a bit with Simonida. How do you see the situation? Do you think it's getting better or worse?
What do you mean? If it's for me a problem if non-Roma are playing Roma, or?
Yeah, about generally, I'm asking you about the underrepresentation, that Roma actors are not getting opportunities. You know, they are cast for stereotypical, cliche, minor roles.
Yeah, of course. I mean, in the moment, if people know that you're Roma, they just put you in a box, and then they just have these typical stereotypes they would offer you, and that's it. Especially the main reason is the skin color, because you can be Roma and be white, and then people don't consider you as a Roma, you know what I mean? So it's really the biggest matter, it's the skin color. If you're black or very dark skin, they will always see you as a migrant and give you just the very typical stereotypes. But yes, in general, also for Roma actors or artists, I think we still have to fight for this respect, that people take us serious, that we are artists, that we are professionals, you know. And what I really hate is when white people like behave like they give you a favor, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, because you are Roma and you are very poor, we give you the opportunity, and they feel like as a white savior, you know what I mean? And this really sucks, because we really want just to be like to get like as a professional, and not like to feel pity about it, like because you are Roma they feel pity about you and they give you one chance to save your life. So this we are still struggling in our jobs, also in theater, but in movies it's even worse. When I have castings for movies, they always give you just the roles for beggars or for criminals or whatever. So I would say we still have a long way to fight for. You know, we are still not there where we should be. But I think we are on a good way. I think we just have to come together and show that we really have to show something, have to tell our stories, and we are professionals.
And that's what I wanted to ask you about. Like, what kind of stories are you planning to tell in the future? Do you have any plans?
We have a lot of plans. We want to do next year a play about. We don't want to tell a lot about it because we want to keep our ideas for us. You know what I mean? but we want to talk more about territorium, about how is it for Roma not to have a country, not to have a nationality. Let's say about this. We want to talk more about this problematic thing that we are a minority, but we are not really, we don't have power because we don't have a country, we don't have an army, we don't have a territorium. And how is it to have a land? No, not to have a land. Yeah, we want to do a play about that.
Mm-hmm. And just going back to, and this is my last question, unless there is anyone following us wanting to ask something, but you were telling me, you know, what you don't want to play, you know, like the very simplistic, very stereotypical cliche beggar, prostitute, these roles, you know, that
exactly, yeah,
Roma, especially Roma women are likely to receive if they are going for casting in theater or even in cinema. So what would you like to play? Do you have, like, it could be from, like, you know, classical theater or just a film or whatever. Like, what would be your favorite role, or like an ideal role?
I would like to play a hero. I would like to play a creepy, just like I don't know, like a creepy character. I would like to play everything which doesn't remind you that you are Roma or black or white. I just want to play very interesting characters which are complex, you know what I mean? And I would like to show in general more role models, like heroes, like people who we can succeed. I don't want to play victims anymore, because we were all our life or our history were victims. And I would like to show other roles where we are happy, we are succeeding, like we are leaders, something like this.
What about you, Simonida?
Yes, same like Sandra. I mean, I would like to play a role without, you know, the topic is about the skin color. It should not have matter which skin color you have, that you get any role for the future. And what I just want to add, we're doing from next year, we're starting from January with the play to rehearsal Bibi Sara Kali. It's about, Bibiako Jive. It's one famous like god from the Roma, the only one that is very famous in Europe. And we're doing about this one very interesting play. And there are a lot of women also playing in. And it will come, the premiere will be at 18th of May.
18th of May.
Yes.
Oh, amazing. I hope to see it physically, not just online as well.
Yes, welcome.
I will go. If I can, I will go, definitely. There is one question from Ahmet, I think, from the Roma Theatre in Skopje. Ahmet is saying, congratulations to you. It was really good to see that you're tackling topics that are taboo in general. I really love the play. So Ahmet is asking, and he's saying that, you know, he struggles with this all the time as well. Do we as Roma artists have to involve and work on Roma topics? Is it not enough that we are Roma artists? Should we tackle more general problems and issues? Since we work on Roma topics, should we use more Roma language on the performances also in order to maintain Roma identity? So I guess Romanes.
Definitely yes. Because our language is more and more, what I'm really observing is dying out, because a lot of parents don't teach their children Romanes anymore, And for me, or for us, thanks God, our mother is a very, very proud Romani, and for her it was very, very important to teach us Romanes. And this is for me also a big part of our identity for being Roma, you know. And I think especially through theater or film, if we put more and involve more our Romani language, I think we would motivate more people to learn or to understand Romanes. Because a lot of young people, especially children, teenagers, they are really ashamed to speak Romanes because they're taught like this, like to be a Roma is bad and is dirty, and they're ashamed to speak Romanes. And I think the more we are talking our own language in public, the more we are motivating other people also to talk it, you know, openly, publicly. This is the thing. We really need to, and we also should have more courses where you can learn Romanes if you want. So definitely, yes, we have to write place where we talk more Romanes.
Like in rap songs that you have been producing.
Exactly.
The next rap song coming out. I can't wait.
Yes, I wrote a new rap song. I'm just waiting for my new beat. But in a few weeks, our next song will come out. My sister and me wrote a new song. It's about Roma women's body and how we resist against Gaje, who are humiliating us. It's about lift up your skirt. But you have to see our song. We wrote it together, and this is also one of our most favorite things to when we are writing songs, to write in Romanes, because a lot of young people are listening hip hop, and I think we are encouraging them when they listen that somebody is rapping and singing in Romanes. So we're encouraging them that Romanes is not a language which they have to be ashamed of. It's a cool language. And for me personally, I have to say that I love to rap in Romanes. The flow, it goes much cooler than in another language.
I completely agree with that. And I really hope that next year we're going to meet, and it's going to be an all-European Romani hip-hop show in Romanes and other languages as well. Do you think it's possible?
Yes, of course. I hope so too. I hope if this virus is disappearing, or hopefully this vaccine will come, we will do the next concert next year. But we are already writing new songs.
I know you're both, at least from your appearances when I saw you in Berlin, and that you seem to be like very dynamic people who love to be on the stage. Maybe it's my preconception and my stereotype about actors and actresses. But tell me, how do you manage without being on the stage, in front of audiences, without doing what you do? How was 2020 from that perspective? And then I let you to go, because I don't want to have a COVID patient, exhausted anymore.
Exactly.
To
be honest, it was a very, very difficult year for me. I really miss it to be on stage, I have to say. I really, really miss it. And I just can hope and pray that we will get soon to our old life, where we don't have to be afraid about COVID. Because I love to be among a lot of people. I love to be on stage. I love to be on stage with my sister Simonida. I think we together, especially when we are together rapping or playing, we are the best. And I just hope that yeah, it will come as soon as possible. It was a really difficult year for me, I have to say.
Simonida, how do you feel about it?
Actually, I had some place where I was rehearsing on it, and I was also staying on the stage. But on the last play that Sandra was also directing it, and I was playing in it, and we was together, like, working. And then we didn't had our premiere, and it was very disappointing for the team, for all of us. And we had like a little trailer premiere on online, on Zoom and on Facebook. I mean, it was nice and it was a bit exciting, but yes, I miss actually the stage. Even
It's not the same. I mean, even if you shoot it like now and you have a good camera team and everything, but being on stage live with hundreds of people, it's never the same. I miss this energy, this live energy of people and the applause. It's magic being on stage live. So
your magic too. I really miss it, and it was really nice to see the play, but I really want to see it, physically as well, and I hope I can, and I think a lot of us share this hope. So I let you go, Sandra, and please take as good care of you as possible.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
And it was a pleasure to talk to you, and I hope I see both of you and you get to work together next year, like every day from morning to midnight. You're going to be creating rap songs, theater, feminist theater plays. So all the health and all the good luck to you for the rest of the year, and hopefully we'll meet next year. Thanks for talking to me, and to the audience who was following us. There is going to be one more theater play, I think, premiering next week. So keep an eye out on the Independent Theatre's Facebook and YouTube channel. And you can also watch Heroes until, I think, the end of the festival, if I'm not mistaken. So go on YouTube and spread the word about this very, very important play about 3 women from different backgrounds, produced by the amazing Simonida and Sandra, our Romani creative heroes, who are going to be shining even more next year. I'm sure about that. So thanks for listening in, and take care, very good care of yourself.
Thank you, Bog.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Bye. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.